Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is from YouTube and it's about DEA over in the Rocky Mountain area. They cracked down on this illegal nightclub that happened overnight at Colorado Springs. So let's get into it and see what they got.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Diane Derby. We are interrupting programming because the Federal Drug Enforcement Agency is providing details right now about a large raid that took place at what they say is an underground nightclub on the southeast side of Colorado Springs.
/
They're
prostitution
updating
ring.
reporters right now. This is near Academy Boulevard and Airport Road. Let's listen in.
And took a number of people into custody. I think what I'd like for people to know as a result of this operation is that Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer community today.
Jonathan, give us some perspective here. 300 law enforcement.
Golly.
Brought about this kind of requirement.
300.
Need to be here with that show of force.
So this is an underground illegal nightclub, okay? And what was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence. We seized a number of guns in there. We had active duty service members who were running security at the club and involved in some of these crimes.
Those active duty guys, they're fucked. I could tell you from personal experience of having to deal with stuff like that in El Paso, Texas. Like if you're involved with that as an active duty service member and we bust you as MPI, CID, the MPs, yeah, you might as well just give it up because you're going to jail, you're getting out the army, you're losing all your benefits.
Crimes. And in fact, we had over 100 illegal aliens
Damn.
inside as well. And those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE.
Active duty service members helping as security here. Can you elaborate on that at all?
So it's an ongoing investigation, but we had over a dozen active duty service members
You guys are
in the club
fucked.
tonight, either as patrons or working as armed security.
It's not going to matter if they're patrons, and even if they're working in armed security, it doesn't matter because that's part of when you join an enlistment, you enlist in the military, you can't be involved with any kind of criminal activity like that. Yeah. That duty station, yeah, they're done.
How many of those were detained and what are they facing right now?
So Army CID was one of our partners out here, and
Criminal
they're gonna
Investigation
work
Division.
with us on what the next steps for those active duty service members looks like.
You mentioned that this is a drug trafficking operation. Can you elaborate on any drugs you found, the amount, any charges you anticipate that could come out of tonight?
So as you may suspect, when the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor. And we did find cocaine. It looks like some pink cocaine or the Tusi. And there was a little bit of other drugs, but we haven't had time to test everything. But there were dozens of small packages of drugs that they've recovered so far that I have personally seen.
How got you off to this location?
This has been
Damn.
a long-term investigation by DEA and a number of our federal partners. And so we've been working on this underground nightclub for a number of months, doing undercover, surveillance, a lot of other work to identify what's going on here. And
See, like you said, he's been working on it for months, so a lot of man hours going into that, a lot of surveillance, a lot of infiltrating to get, involved, to go out into this club, earning trust with, the culprits, if you will, to be able to get access to see what's going on so they can make the determination whether or not to bust this. And they said they got 300 agents involved. That's including civilian, local authorities, DEA, the military, i.e. CID. So yeah, that was a big sting that happened.
again, months-long information about drug trafficking and prostitution happening inside.
So you said there were 300 federal law enforcement. How many people were actually inside of this underground nightclub?
We estimate over 200 people were inside the nightclub when we came here tonight, and so that's why we needed such a large force. Anytime you're dealing with that many people, we want to do it safely, and that's what we did.
The nature of the nightclub, all of them facing charges, everyone inside?
No, they're not. A lot of people were turned away. As I said, over 100 went into ICE custody. A few people went on state arrest warrants. They had outstanding warrants. And we actually have a few other operations pending right now across the city. We're waiting to determine if there'll be other arrests from those.
Did you guys face any immediate threats going in, or was everything just a smooth operation going in and out, making sure everything was taken care of?
anytime there's 200 people, there's going to be a little bit of concern about safety.
Yep.
But overall, it was a safe operation.
Was TDA present here?
In our investigation, we have noticed TDA,
Trendy Wagwa.
MS-13, and I believe Hell's Angels in this club. I don't have the information about whether those members were there tonight, but we're still working through a lot of that because we have so many people in custody. We're working through a lot of the information about who's who.
Jonathan, after the raid in Adams County back in January, you received criticism because you didn't have arrests. You talked about the cops went in, the drugs went to the ground. Are you expecting to be criticized here, and then how do you address those critics now?
So DEA is going to continue to work to keep our community safe, no matter what the criticism is, right? We are not going to accept drug trafficking and prostitution in our cities. And so absolutely Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer city this Sunday morning.
Can you talk to us about the local assistance and how that all played out?
Absolutely. We had over 10 federal agencies in support of this operation, but we also had Colorado Springs PD and El Paso County Sheriff's Office supporting us.
2 more questions.
Obviously, Tony mentioned too the one in Adams County that also involved quite a bit of people who were here illegally. What do you say to anyone's concern or vantage point that these look like immigration operations happening under DEA operations?
What they were saying, man, nobody's safe. You know, all illegal immigrants, they're cracking down. They're going to find you no matter where you are. So I don't know why they still try to come over. They're going to get shipped back. Now they're talking about going to El Salvador and that CCOT prison. Boy, y'all better quit. Y'all might as well just stop. Just give it up. Or come over here the right way. Because, you know, they said 10 different federal organizations cracked down on this place.
These crimes go hand in hand, right? When we find drug trafficking and prostitution, unfortunately, we're finding a lot of illegal aliens. 200 people in this club, a lot of drug trafficking happening.
A lot of people.
Weapons, prostitution, over half the people inside were illegals.
Jonathan, you talked about the investigation is ongoing, but talk to us about the significance of active duty military being investigated for
Stupid
crimes at this location.
Yeah, it's obviously concerning to have active duty military involved. We're working with our partners at Army CID on that piece. Obviously, where we are here in the Springs, there's a lot of military bases here, so it's not necessarily surprising, but we're going to take that very seriously.
What's the message?
The message is we're not going to stand for this criminality in our city.
It's like all these, bleeding heart liberals, most likely the ones that were in the military are the ones that were helping out. And I'm like, you're stupid. You threw your weight in your entire career for some illegal activity. And it's not just you that's going to suffer. It's going to be your family members suffer as well because you're taking away from them. You won't get all your benefits that they're entitled to. If you go to prison, then they have to fend for themselves. It's like it's a selfish act that they just done. They threw away an entire career just for some illegal activity. Dumbasses.
Real quick, can you confirm if those active duty were related to Fort Carson?
I cannot.
How proud
Most likely they are, Fort Carson.
That's all, folks, for the questions. Just wrap it up.
Just the last thing I'll say is appreciate all you guys coming out here, and we just want to.
What's crazy is that this guy right here looks like Sergeant Jurgen. He was stationed with me in El Paso and Fort Bliss, and also when we were stationed in Yongsan, Korea. Looks just like this guy.
Give a big thank you to the 10 federal agencies and El Paso County Sheriff's Office and Colorado Springs Police Department for sending all these officers out here to make us have a successful operation today.
That's crazy. Like, imagine, a prestigious job, in the military, and all of a sudden, everything's being taken away because you had a dumbass decision to go help, someone get away with crime, whether it be gun running, prostitution, illegal drugs, whatever sex trade is going on down there in those illegal clubs, and your family has to suffer for it. And, you ruined your good name, you ruined your family's legacy for what? Just stupidity. But that's my thoughts about it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let me know how I did. Get the conversation going. I'll catch you next video. Peace.